Hello, everyone, and welcome to the North versus South FPL podcast featuring myself, Heath, and my co-host, Date. How are you, buddy?
I'm very good, Heath. I'm very good indeed. Let me start off by saying, due to budget cuts in our podcast, my sound may not sound as good today. We have a microphone issue, which is being taken up with Amazon at the moment, and it's all down to a 2.5-year-old who wanted to play with my new microphone in the bathtub. So thank you to my son, who's he had a fun time anyway, but it's not helping our huge listeners and to hear some great sound, I guess. So yeah, but
Fair enough.
Other than that, I'm great.
Okay, so this week we have the game week review, which is going to be a lot of fun for me. We have our standard shit list. We have our hit list. We have our North versus South mini league update. We've got a scouted team feature, which State has very kindly taken on Leicester City. And we've got our game week preview. Now, there's no quiz this week. I think that last quiz took it out of both of us, probably. Me trying to find something to really ruin State, which it did to a certain extent. I could tell his confidence has drained a bit. He's blaming the mic, but actually he's very down in the dumps still from that quiz. But we decided after splitting the podcast in two that maybe we need to bring it down a notch with the time so that you guys can kind of be able to listen to this on your commute or wherever you're listening to it, on your dog walk, whatever, and not feel like you have to come back for seconds. So we're doing you guys a favor. You can thank us later by giving us all sorts of reviews and ticks and I don't know, thumbs up
Ticks.
and
all those ticks.
I don't know. I don't know.
Ticks. We're not teachers. We're not marking essays. Ticks. Seriously, I tell you. You've lost the plot.
I have, I think. We also have our game week preview this week, but we're well aware there's an international break and we've got a lot of good content coming up for you during that international break. So yeah, you enjoy this episode, but you gotta know that there's a lot to come next week, like we did previous international break. In fact, I think last time maybe we gave them a bit too much because I had some people telling me that I didn't even realize that we had a Q&A, which if you haven't listened to it, it's a Q&A with State. It's brilliant. We both really enjoyed it. It's probably the only podcast that's under 45 minutes, I think.
Swift wasn't I was like the Flash.
It was.
Yeah.
It was good. So I feel like rather than jump into the game week review, we have to pay our respects to the FA Cup this week. There was quite a big game. Bromley is the place that I'm from, and Rotherham is the team that State supports. And let's just say 2 quick-fire goals in is it end of the first half or beginning of the second half?
End of the first half.
End of the first half. I was Ben
Wiles' goal was fantastic. Right, strike.
Did you actually play a full strength team, or did you play reserves?
Yes, no, we actually had quite a strong side out. To be fair, most of the guys have been starting most of the season. There were, I think, 1 or 2 who would not maybe start all the time, but the majority regulars. I think Warney took it seriously, gave Bromley a lot of respect, and it was a big day out for Bromley going to a club that will be back in the Championship next season. They acquitted themselves quite well, barring the lad who went through one of our lads for the red card in the second half, which was a bit of a naughty challenge. But I think Bromley did well. They won the best game of the weekend. The best game of the weekend is in the town close to where I live, Halifax. Did you see that result in the FA
No,
Cup?
tell me.
Halifax Town 7, Maidenhead United 4. It was 4-3 at the end of the first innings as well.
Really?
So, yeah. Second innings, Halifax moved away. They're both in the same division, the National Conference. Halifax towards the top end, Maidenhead down at the bottom. But 7-4, you had tickets for that game. 11-goal thriller. You've had your money's worth there.
Nice. Yeah, no, I wasn't aware of that. I only checked out. I was walking around Canterbury Primark with my other half, feeling a little bit hard done by, and I was checking the scores. I could see it was 0-0 at the Bromley game, and I thought, oh, go on, get through to half time. I don't know. There's a certain app that tells you. I think it's called Flash Score.
Yeah.
We're not promoting this app, by the way. I'm just saying that I used it, and I was thinking, oh, maybe they got confused with the first goal because you literally just scored one, And then it said Rotherham chance. I thought, well, they just scored. It can't be. Oh, it's 2-0. Oh, okay, game over.
It was scrappy second goal, but yeah. And then Will Grigg came on off the bench and scored the third.
But like you say, though, it's a day out for the Bromley fans, and like you're confident about promotion. I'm confident about Bromley's promotion to the league for the first time in their history. I think it's only a matter of time. It's either going to happen this season or next. They've got games in hand to go to the top. I can see it happening, to be honest. Not that I actually ever go to any games at the moment. It's just not happening at the moment. Yeah, because I go to Watford games. Which
you want to support prima donna teams instead of real football teams.
Well, actually, do you know what? Yeah, that I was going to say Watford and other Premier League teams could learn a lot from Rotherham by giving the cup respect. Which, to be honest, the one thing. Oh, we're going off on a little bit of a tangent here. Going to go against the whole thing of the whole point of bringing this podcast down, in time wise. But yeah, League Cup, they need to improve the League Cup by giving us some kind of incentive so that people actually play their better teams. That's the one thing in football that I feel like they really haven't nailed, and it winds me up because there's a trophy there to be won. And if even a team like Watford, or a team like Leicester, or a team like, even Spurs, when you think about it, they could win the League Cup. That would be a big, big deal. But yeah, they need to get an incentive. All right, let's stop. We've talked about the magic of the FA Cup. We've there. I'll tell you what, it'd be great if you guys drew us in the third round.
Not if it's at your place. I'm not coming down again.
Well, you just come in the home end. You come in the home end, be sociable like you did last time.
No.
Well, no, actually, it was the other way around.
We played it completely wrong since there was no beer in your end. But yeah, I think wasn't happy about that. Was not happy.
He's not let it go. I think this was now 7 years ago. He's still talking about the lack of beer in the away end.
No beer. There wasn't a lack of. There was no.
There was definitely beer in there somewhere. The Northerners somehow getting it in there.
Yeah, it was in our bellies still since we'd had a few before.
Okay, let's crack on with the game week review. So, if you've not listened to this podcast before, just to highlight what we're all about. So, State is a Northerner. I am a Southerner. State can only pick players from Northern teams, and I can only pick players from Southern teams. So that is the reason why I didn't have Mo Salah. And actually, State this week didn't have Mo Salah either. We'll get to that. Yeah, the game week review. State, how did it all go for you, mate?
Good game week for me, to be fair. Not bad at all. I think, as Heath sort of alluded, I wasn't allowed to play Mo Salah because I lost it in last week's quiz, which Heath kindly gave us a fantastic quiz to work on. It was a very fair quiz. I would like to say that I am not bitter about it at all. I believe in each person getting the right to put their own quiz on board. He finally got a win on the quiz, which, we've been waiting for that for 11 game weeks now. I know we've not done a quiz each week, but it's still that long, at least since he's won one. So Mo Salah was on my bench today, and he was my third sub as well. I couldn't even have to name him as a third sub, so that basically wasn't going to play. But have no fear, because I had backup for this, didn't I, Heath? I had a great backup plan, and it came very, very good at Old Trafford. So anyway, let's go into my team. In net, Kasper Schmeichel, 3 points. Better than his usual 2 points, but or less. So I can't grumble with that. But 3 points from him. Then a back three, Connor Cody with a big 1 point. Massive, Connor, massive indeed. Ruben Diaz, Man City, 6 points. Nice clean sheet from Ruben. And then the star of the show, Mr. Cancelo. He got 14 points in this game week. However, given I couldn't play Salah or captain him, and not to blow my own trumpet too much, I thought, hang on a minute, they're going to do well here. Cancelo gets forward. He could get some assists here. Oh, yeah, you're right, listeners. I did captain Cancelo. So he got me 28 points. Anyone else have the balls to do that? Respect you. But I don't think many people will have done, because I'm just levels above him in these things sometimes. Mystic Meg. Mystic State, as we could call me now.
It's not very catchy.
No, it's not. But right now, it's serving purpose. So yeah, Cancelo got me 28 points in the end. How do you feel about that, Heath?
No, fair play to you. I'll have a bit of a moan on the shit list.
More happy for me, please.
No, I am happy for you. I just think for the last maybe 4 or 5 game weeks, I've just been thinking that I've always been thinking it's only a matter of time before State's team starts to crumble because Salah's, got to have a bad day. Finally, I win a quiz or I put a quiz that you don't hit the benchmark and Salah comes out your team and I'm thinking, okay, well, who's going to carry his team this week? And you could have captained anyone else but Cancelo, and I think I would have won the game week. You like overall, player for player, take away the captaincy, and I probably would have won the last 3 game weeks.
Well, we'll go on to your bad captaincy.
No, but I mean, I'm just saying that's the thing that keeps me going at the moment because I've lost 3 in a row now. I think it is maybe even 4 in a row, and most people give up. But I see potential in my team, and I see your team's just it's just relying on one player each week.
Man, I've got a superstar who's going to score me points each week. You haven't. That's the difference.
I think I have, but he had like teething problems.
Who's that?
Mason Mount.
Yeah.
Apparently, wisdom tooth problems. Come on. Professional footballer having wisdom tooth problems.
I just think your board's going to be talking to you later. Trust me, it's going to have a word with you. But don't you worry, I'll finish off my team quickly because the rest of them didn't do bugger all of it. Like, Phil Foden 3 points, Demari Gray 3 points, Andrews Townsend 3 points, Cornet at Burnley or Cornet as I'm going to call him 1 point, Hwang 2 points, Jimenez 2 points, Cristiano Ronaldo 1 point. So all that sorted. Yeah. Bench, Norris in net 0 points, Matip got 1 point. Mason Holgate got -2. He's done well. He was actually only on the pitch for 8 minutes. And got sent off.
It was one of those tackles, wasn't it, where he's got the ball, but he's just thrown himself in out of control, studs up.
You can't do that in this day and age. To be fair, it's a definite. Well, I mean, back in the day, he might have not even got booked for something like that. Probably wouldn't be a foul. But in today's modern game, which is questionable at times, it wasn't. It's a red card. You're not gonna hide that fact. So yeah, and then Mo Salah on my bench got 5 points. Now the thing is, if you hadn't have fined with Mo Salah, had a captain in, and you'd have still lost by 2 points. So it'd have been a lot more excruciatingly close if I'd have not if you'd have let me have Salah as captain, because I would have captained Salah if he was in my squad, but I'd have still won even if I was captained it because I'd have brought out probably Cornet because they were playing Chelsea. He'd have come off. So I'd have beat you by 1 point or 2 points still. So don't feel too disheartened by that fact. Just the fact that I can afford to have the best player in the game as a third sub. I rested him this game week. I think he needed a rest, the man. Helping recharge some batteries because they've got a big game against Arsenal in the next fixture. Yeah, so I gave him a week off. That's how I'm looking at it.
You did well, mate. Honestly, Cancelo is a captain, absolute masterclass. I have to put my hands up and say, fair play to you. I don't know what's going through your head. I don't know why you would do such a thing, but it worked, and you deserve the credit that I'm throwing your way.
Yeah, I was bragging about it at the football club to a few of the boys after.
Bet you were.
I was like, yeah. They're all talking about, captain this now, and captain Cancelo, and they all looked to me like, 28 points, guys. They were just like, they were all in awe. Which I just brushed it off. I'm like,
it's mainly because this season he's been doing very well in Europe. He's been getting goals and assists in Europe, but then when it's come to the actual Premier League, he's not done a huge amount. He's got clean sheets, obviously, because Man City have got a hell of a lot of those this season, but assists and goals.
But it's his third double points week, though, which isn't too bad. He's had 3 double point weeks. I get what you're saying, yeah, but he got 12 against Chelsea, 12 against Leicester, and now 14 against Man U. So it's, he's got. Why? That's why I picked him, because he's got the capabilities to get those big weeks.
No, I agree. But if you are a sane FPL manager and you can pick from north and south, if you've got Cancelo playing against Chelsea or Man United obviously Man United are having a bit of a hard time, but normally away at Man United and against Chelsea, even to a certain extent against Leicester, you'd be thinking, oh, do I play Cancelo? If you've got a good 15, you'd be thinking, do I play him this week? And then now that he's got double figure hauls against those three teams, he's now proven himself probably fixture proof and that you could probably play him any game because he turns up against the big clubs as well as the smaller clubs. So yeah, I mean, there's good knowledge there. But I would say that if I was able to pick him as a player, I would have been tempted to put him on the bench for 2 of those 3 games where he's got double points. That's probably why I'm not really. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, good week.
Thank you.
What was your overall amount of points?
53.
53. Okay, so
doing better, but I'll take 53.
So I got 42 points. Didn't make any. I didn't make any subs this week. I rolled my transfer. I thought it'd be good. Been making one too many subs, and I just looked at my team and I thought, actually, there's nothing I really wanted to do. And I was still kind of hoping that Kieran Tierney would be back, and I was kind of hoping that Azpilicueta would play. Neither did. But yeah, my star of the week this week was Ben Foster, who saved an Aubameyang penalty. I was at the game. It was a penalty at the time I looked at and I thought that is ridiculous. But actually, when I've seen the highlights, it was definitely a penalty.
Definitely not.
Yeah. But Foster's save, personally, I thought it was a fantastic save. Don't think that the highlights I've watched that anyone really gave him too much credit for that. But
a good penalty save.
It was. He saved it
throughout the game as well.
Yeah, he saved it with both his hand and his kind of his knee, his like his left knee in the air. It was a really good save. But
get what you can on it. That's all
exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he got 11 points. So he got 3 bonus. He got the points for the penalty save, and they only conceded 1, so didn't get any minus. So then I go on to Serge Reguilon. He got 5 points. I think he got booked, and he got a clean sheet against Everton. Then Cucurella, just 2 points. Bit disappointing because they're playing Newcastle, but Newcastle have it in their locker to go to places and get results against certain teams. They just have it in them sometimes. They're pretty unlucky not to win that game because Sanchez obviously got sent off at the end. It was a bit of a dirty challenge. I mean, it's actually a very clever dirty challenge, but it's still nonetheless a dirty challenge. And he got himself sent off. But yeah, Cucurella with 2 points. Yeah, it's just his fixtures are turning now, so I'm hoping he'll start to pay dividends. But yeah, Antonio Rudiger, disappointed again, just 2 points. He has been pretty good for me recently, so I can't complain too much. And then more disappointment, Saïd Benrahma. I don't know where the beginning of the season form has gone. West Ham, yeah, I think he's just kind of like passed it over to Bowen, and it's just not really working for him. He was taking his chances. He was getting to good positions. Everything seemed to be working for him at the beginning of the season. It's suddenly not, but West Ham are still winning, so it doesn't really matter too much. I suppose I'll be a bit disappointed with the next one, Mason Mount with 1 point, but I look at my bench and actually the only person who would have come off my bench is, our man Moussa Sissoko, normally on the 2-pointer.
He let you down this week, only 1 point.
I know, disappointing, but so ultimately Mount with 1 point wouldn't have made any difference if I'd have kept him on the bench. I kind of had an inkling that he might have played against Burnley, wasn't to be. Now, I guess my star in general at the moment has to be Emil Smith-Rowe. 8 points, scored, clean sheet. Ultimately, very, very lucky goal. I'm sure all the Arsenal fans will agree with me. And my captain this week was Heung-min Son. It got me 6 points. He got a clean sheet, and basically that was just a 3 points double at 6. Then I've got Antonio. Honestly, I'm boring myself just reading out my team. Antonio 2 points, Harry Kane 2 points, and Ivan Toney 1 point. My bench, Raya's still injured, and he's going to be for quite a few months. Tierney's still injured. Aspilicueta's out of favour at the moment, playing in Europe rather than playing the Prem. And Sissoko was always going to be on my bench against Arsenal. So 42 points. I am second in the league to state. And it's going to be Jesus. So you're now on 21 points. I'm on 12. That relegation
Also,
is already looking
10 points clear of you in the accumulation as well.
Yeah, so it's a long way back, but I can make up quite a few points around January when the African Nations Cup's on. Yeah, I just need a bit of luck, really. I need to win a game week and get myself back on track. These guys have lost a lot of confidence over the last few weeks, and I need to inspire them. But let's move on. let's just stop talking about that. Let's just talk about other stuff.
It's a great misfiring strike force you've got there, just so you're aware.
Honestly, though, like Conte signing for Spurs has given me a bit of a injection of confidence, but none of them really did anything. I think Reguilon could have scored. Harry Kane really didn't seem that inspired like I thought he might have been. And Son's always plugging away, but
he's going to show them up defensively first, Conte. They need to show up at the back, make sure they don't concede goals. He's going to do that, lay the foundations first, and then he's going to start bringing in some, because he's not an overly attacking manager anyway. I think but I think especially with what Spurs have got, it's going to be a tough job, tough assignment, But
he's got to prove himself, hasn't he?
They've got Leeds in the next game at home, so they've got to be thinking 3 points there and getting back on the winning wagon. How it is.
It's a good wagon, isn't it? You know all about that wagon at the moment, right?
I'm a very, very good winner. I'll tell you that much. I excel at it at the moment. It's all going well. And the league tables don't lie. But anyway, from going on to being really good at winning things and stuff like that, has gone to really shit things. That's where the fun comes into it. I reckon he's going to have a great shit list for us this week, guys. If he doesn't, I can add to his shit list for him because I have plenty of options for him as well on that. So let's see what he's got for us. So anyone who doesn't understand the shit list, well, the name says it all. We can have up to 5 players, or referees, or managers. Sometimes we picked whole teams. Sometimes we picked each other. He's been on my shit list several times already. He's not going to be on it this week, I don't think. I think he's paid his dues. So, but without further ado, let's listen to Heath's shit list.
Okay, so I'll start off with the lesser of the shit list, and then I'll move on until I get to the strongest part of my shit list. So I'll start with what I deem as shit list, and I'll start with 2 players who were playing in 2 separate games who had absolutely no bearing on my game week whatsoever, but I feel like I want to call them out for being shithousery, something like that. I don't know how exactly you would deem it. Just plain cheating kind of winds me up, and therefore I always want to expose it and put them on my shit list. So the first one goes to Richarlison, outright just trying to get someone sent off. Believe it was the Spurs centre back from Atlanta. What's his name?
Oh, Romero.
Yeah, him. So I think his head slightly went towards Richarlison, and it's pathetic. Richarlison putting his head down as if he'd been punched or something, or headbutted or whatever. Just pathetic. Can't stand that. Not a big fan of that. And then we move on to Anwar El Ghazi at Aston Villa. Similar, not as bad probably, but on a booking, dives in the box. Referee allows advantage, doesn't come back to call the dive. VAR is unable to actually call back a second yellow card. So yeah, he was able to get away with that. Can't stand diving, can't stand the whole trying to get players sent off and all that. It just really winds me up. So they're both on my shit list this week. And like I say, it's got nothing to do with FPL. They're just dickheads, really, in my opinion. Next one is all about FPL. This was his game week to shine. Ivan Toney. Well, I guess
going down, Brentford.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they're an interesting prospect as a club, as a team, and a lot of people like them. And unfortunately for myself, I did have this feeling that they were going to be the Sheffield United of a few seasons ago and Leeds United of last season, team who weren't afraid just to go for it and, took on teams and were high pressing and taking their chances when they came. But at the moment, things aren't falling into place and they just seem way off the pace. And I think that their goalkeeper getting injured seems to have made a big difference. But losing to Norwich at home, I'll be honest with you, I called it at work. We do a score predictions there. I actually put down Norwich to win 2-1 because how often do you see that where two teams who get promoted, one team, starts off really well, the one struggles, and they're the ones who goes away from home and gets the result. But it was a strange result. But Brentford didn't look like they really did a huge amount. They had the chance. Tony's flick on to Bumo, which was called offside correctly. That was, I guess, the only chance. I think what I'm hearing at the moment is that Tony's not really a particularly good FPL player points-wise. He's a good player, but he's not going to score you a huge amount of points. He's just, he works hard off the ball. Probably not too dissimilar to, like a Christian Benteke or something. Actually, I don't even know if he does work that hard off the ball, to be honest. He doesn't look like he does, but maybe he does. Palace fans, correct me if I'm wrong. But what I'm saying is that he's someone who brings other players into the game. And Tony, I do know just by watching him in games that I've seen with him playing, he does work hard off the ball. But he just doesn't. He had the game against Wolves where I feel like I've just remembered that one game or something, and I assumed that he'd be like that the whole season. And he literally just done it in one game where he just looked like he was tearing them apart, and he could have scored 3 or 4 goals that game. But after that, he's had his moments, but really he's been disappointing for the last 4 game weeks. Really, and the frustrating thing is that he's got quite a tempting fixture next week with next game week against Newcastle. And they've still got some good fixtures coming up. So it's hard because you want to take him out with players who aren't on form. You want to take them out, but when they've got decent enough fixtures, you think, give him one more week. I've been doing that for 4 game weeks and he's done fuck all. No, so yeah, he's on my shit list. I'm not going to put Harry Kane on my shit list this week. I can't be bothered. I'm not going to waste my breath with him. He costs so much money. He's just winding me up. So I'm not even going to go into the detail about him. So the next thing that's on my shit list, not person, thing, is Karma. Karma is on my shit list. Because Karma can be a bitch, and it has been a bitch to me. So the whole giving state the fine. I really enjoyed that last week. When I was editing this podcast, I was really enjoying how excited and happy you were at the beginning of the podcast and how frustrated and pissed you were at the end of it. And now look at me. Oh, dear. I deserve it. I shouldn't take joy out of people's anger.
Yeah, you definitely do deserve it. I'm not going to deny that at all. Yeah.
But I'm not going to put myself on my shit list this week. Not this week. I'm not going to allow myself the indignity of that. I'm taking myself off my own shit list from last week. I'm not putting myself on because I did the right thing. Just because you played a very good hand does not mean that I did anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. The right quiz, the right fine. He got points, Salah, and I did the right thing. So I'm not to blame here. It's just fair play, hands up, credit where credit is due. But Karma's on my shit list, along with Ivan Toney, Richarlison, and El Ghazi. So that's my shit list. Oh, and by the way, no Arsenal players. No, even though I went to the Emirates the other day, I'm not going to complain about that. I'm just going to leave it out there.
Leave it out there. I mean, to be fair, even though maybe Arsenal's goal shouldn't have stood, they should have been well clear by half time.
That's exactly the reason why I went with one of my Arsenal mates. it's clear and obvious that Arsenal were going to win that game of football. Really, it was just a matter of time when that goal was going to go in. It's frustrating how it went in, but the fact is they deserve to win, so that's the reason why I'm not complaining.
No, right, fair enough. I'm happy for Arsenal winning because I'm in a last man standing competition, right? And it's a 10.5 grand pot.
Jeez.
10.5 grand to the winner, or when you get to the last four, you can do now. In the first game week, which was the week before, pretty much 700 plus people at either City or Liverpool. Neither of them won, so 700 people went out. I had Chelsea that week, and I went for Arsenal this week over Watford. So I'm still in it. There's about 130 people left in it out of like 1,000, and we've only had 2 game weeks, so people are dropping like flies. So I was very happy Arsenal won that game because I'm still in with a chance for a 10.5 grand pot. So
Question is, who are you going to go for next game week?
Well, this is where I'm probably going to screw it up because I'm going to try and do something smart, like and look at someone like Newcastle or Brentford.
I was going to say, who have you still got to pick?
Well, I can only not pick Chelsea and Arsenal.
I would strongly recommend going for Man United.
yeah. Well, to be fair, Man United are better away from home than they are at home, so it is a consideration. But at the moment, you still know which Man United's turning up.
Yeah, but they're playing Watford, and I, as much as I'm a massive Watford fan, the fact is that we don't look like we get anywhere near any of the top teams.
Then you've got a chance against Man U, then, haven't you?
Hey.
But there's options. Spurs at home to Leeds, could that be one? Spurs could under Conte get a few more weeks. City at home to Everton. Everton are looking very poor at the moment, and I think City should be able to damage them. Man United at Watford could happen. Newcastle, there's options. I'm gonna take my time over it and probably leave it until I'm a little bit tipsy one night and then make my pick that way. So that'll be the option. Yeah, we'll see.
Keep us updated. We want to know.
Yeah. So anyway, my shit list this week. I mean, to be fair, I could put a lot of my team on it because most of them were pretty damn crap. So so 2 players really sort of scored decent enough points for me, and the rest of it. Although Phil Foden played quite well actually for City.
Hit the post, did he?
Yeah, hit the post, and he was just everywhere, and he caused a lot of problems. But obviously, he didn't get the assist, so he didn't score the goal. So obviously, he only got 1 bonus point. But he played really well. I mean, him, De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, and Jesus were just like killing United off the ball. Because whenever United had the ball in their own half deep, them 4 were just all over them everywhere. And City, I think for the first 30 minutes of the game, I don't think United got out of their own half really. Then Ronaldo had a shot on target, which I loved because I put on that bet you can get on Sky. Ronaldo had a shot on target, 3-1 or something. You could only put 250 on it, but it's a win. But yeah, I think in terms of people actually on my shit list this week, I'm going to have to put Cristiano Ronaldo on there because you're costing me and you're not producing. And it's becoming a bit of a problem for me now. You're at that point where, do you take him out? Well, probably not. Like you said, they're playing Watford next, so you've probably got to keep him in for that.
Captain him.
Yeah, maybe, but Liverpool at home to Arsenal. Salah does well against Arsenal, so I'm probably not going to take it away from him, to be fair. Although he's now 2 goals without a game, he's got assists in both of those games, so he's still getting points.
Terrible form, absolutely awful form.
He's got 5 assists in his last 5 games. He's got 1 assist in every one of his last 5 games. I mean,
I'd expect 2 assists or at least a goal.
Well, he only needs an assist to be better than any of your teams. So sorry, not ESR. ESR, he's the man. So apologies to Emil and Ben Foster this week. I mean, to be fair, most of my sides should be on my shit list. So we'll start with Cristiano Ronaldo on there. It cost me a lot of money, and the work rate doesn't seem to be there from him. But I mean, he's never been that sort of player. I don't get me wrong, but I think I don't think that's Solskjaer actually wanted to sign him. United wouldn't have signed him if he was going to be going to a Barcelona or back to Real Madrid. They only went and signed him because they didn't want City to have him, I think. I'm probably wrong.
It's similar to Alexis Sanchez, wasn't it? City were going for Sanchez, and Man United felt like they just had to kind of.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, Ronaldo's world class still, and he's finished against Spurs the other week with quality. The guy's got ability, quality, and I'm not doubting that, but I just don't think he was what United were trying, what Solskjaer were trying to build towards. And I think Ronaldo's now, he's so big. He's the man in the dressing room. It's not Solskjaer. I would imagine Ronaldo's got control, not Solskjaer, probably in there. And it seems to be affecting Bruno Fernandes a little bit. Who knows? But
it was pretty petulant again the other day against City, but he was petulant a couple of weeks back against Liverpool.
Yeah,
with these strange tackles. That one against De Bruyne where he threw himself in, where De Bruyne was already going down. It just last minute of the game. What's the point?
He's used to winning games, and he's been at Juventus, having it easy for the last 3-4 years, hasn't he? Because Juve have not had a challenge until last season when Inter Milan finally came to the party a bit. So yeah, I just see that as a case. So yeah, Ronaldo, you're on my shit list. Other players on my shit list, I mean, it's only because the team just didn't perform. It's like, Wolves players, Cody, Jimenez, Juan, didn't really do much for Wolves against Palace, so just bad performances. That's why you're on my shit list. I'm not going to keep you there. You've done all right, but it only takes a bad performance for me to put you on my shit list, to be honest with you. The other person going on my shit list this week is none other than Mo Salah. Controversial, I know, but you were meant to get just the 2 points when you're my third sub, all right? I don't want risks like that again, okay? Take it easy when you're on my third bench. Tell Jurgen you don't want to play the game. You need a week off, and then there's no risk of you getting injured, okay? I don't want you getting close to Aaron Cresswell, trying to take your knee out and stuff. No, I'm just doing it for your own good. You're on my shit list, so that next week when I captain you, bang, 3 goals.
I really hope he's taken that personally. I really hope.
I'm sure he will. But yeah. but yeah, it's a bit of a mockery shit list that really for me. Like I said, most of my team should be on it because they're just not performing. It's got to be a point. I've had a good game week still in the end, so I've got to be happy with that. So yeah, all good really on that front from my point of view.
Nice. Okay, well, let's move on to something a bit more positive, which is our hit list. And this is similar to the shit list, is a max of 5 players. Basically, we're looking for players that we believe right now, if you haven't got in your team, you should be thinking about bringing them in. State, do you want to provide us with your group of hit players?
Yeah, no problem. So, number 1 on my hit list is my fellow podcast presenter and host, Heath. He goes on my hit list. Guys, if you want your team, if you want someone to come on board, tell you to take somebody out of your team, and it brings options. If anyone's ever watched the film Moneyball before, where they get rid of Damon and Giambi, and then there's that moment where Jonah Hill tells Brad Pitt, I think he gives you great options. Well, Heath telling me to get rid of Salah for the week gave me great options, and the best option was Cancelo there. So Heath, you are on the hit list.
It's an honor. It's an honor. Yeah, first one of us to be on a hit list. I didn't think it would be me. I didn't think I'd be on your hit list.
Well, I've got to give you some credit for what you did for me. Yeah, I'm very, very gracious. I'm very thankful for it. But
you are welcome. How about this? All right, we keep this going. Maybe just I'll tell you what to do for next game week. Maybe put Salah on the bench again and see how you get on. Make Cancelo captain again. Just see put your money where your mouth is.
Well, maybe, but the thing is, we don't need to. I don't need to do that because
you got a healthy lead, mate. Maybe you should get cocky about it.
Oh well, maybe, but we don't want to be too cocky now, do we? So we'll see how things go. But anyway, yeah, I think in terms of hit lists, I mean, one lad who will be worth looking at. His value's come down massively since the start of the season. Well, 0.5 million from 7 million to 6.5 million, and against Leeds played well. scored a goal, and looked back to what he was like last season before he got injured. And I think that's Harvey Barnes. And I know I put Yuri Tielemans on last week, but Harvey Barnes, the fact that he started the game again and looked lively, looked like he got some of that fitness, and because he's obviously lost some from that injury because he was a big injury. So Harvey Barnes could be worth a shout at just 6.5 million because Brendan likes his wingers getting forward, getting into the box as well, and they get a chance to score some goals. So yeah, Harvey Barnes is definitely one to have in there. A really obvious one, and this guy will cost you money, but if you've got the money to put it in, you've got to be looking at Trent Alexander-Arnold in there if you've not done so already. He's 7.7 million, so he costs you money, but he gets you points. The assists he's coming out with at the moment are quality. He's getting points. Liverpool, the beating teams, they got beat at the weekend, so they're no clean sheet, but he scored a goal. He takes free kicks, he takes corners, even in game, not from dead set pieces. He gets the ball out wide, even deep. He's got the ability to put those balls in those areas. So he'd be on my hit list if you're looking to buy a big fullback, because I think big fullbacks are quite key. Your goal scoring fullbacks or the point scoring fullbacks that are out there at the moment. There's a great lot of options, which Heath can go into these southern ones, but the likes of Reece James, he's scoring points as well. He's scoring goals. Alexander-Arnold, Cancelo, Ben Chilwell, these are fullbacks to the highest quality who are getting forward, getting assists, getting goals, and you can't afford not to have at least one of them in there. And if you can have two of them in there, get two of them in. I'm sure if me and Heath could pick both North and South ones, we'd have at least two of those four players in our side. I'd guarantee that. I'd be making sure for 5.9 million, Reece James would be mine. But yeah, 7.7 million for Alexander-Arnold is a lot of money. But again, if you've got that money to spend it on him, and then put 4 million into some shine defender, because Alexander-Arnold will get more points than what two average defenders will get. All the other ones that I probably have on my hit list will probably be more, looking how things are working at the moment. You probably don't want your southern players, because from last week, when you're looking at fixtures lists coming up, I've been looking towards your teams who've obviously got some nice fixtures coming up now. So if you look at Leeds United, I said him last week, and I'll just re-emphasise it this week. Get Rafinha in your team if you've not done so already. I'm trying to work him into my team at the moment. There's a few problems when it comes to financials in getting in there, but the guy's in some great form. I said it last week, and then I say it again now, because they've got Spurs and Brighton away in the next games, but they're still looking dangerous. So Leeds and those two teams are not in great form. Then they've got Palace at home and Brentford at home. Again, Palace are doing well, but those are games where Rafinha can score some goals, and he's generally the one who's going to get the bonus points for Leeds as well. So yeah, those are the ones in my hit list this week. It's not a full list because I think some of them I've just been repeating from the previous week.
I'm going to go against that code of repeating myself, and I'm going to talk about one player that I've already mentioned a couple of weeks ago, who I think that you need to bring in your team now. It's getting silly. The guy seems to be performing every week. It's Conor Gallagher at Crystal Palace. He's just been unbelievable. Like I said a couple of weeks ago when I had him on my hit list, I said, at the beginning when he joined Palace, we all knew that he'd been at West Brom the season before, done a decent enough job. They got relegated, so you couldn't get too excited about him. But this year, I don't know what Vieira's said to him, but it seems to be working, an absolute treat. The guy's in so many dangerous positions. He scored again, deflected goal, but at the same time, he's not afraid to have a shot, really, which is great to have as a centre midfielder. Palace, just everything just seems to be going really well for them at the moment. The players they're bringing in and the players they're kind of resting, and then like Zaha, for instance, a couple of weeks ago, I think he was injured or something, came straight back into the team. He scored twice in 2 weeks. But Gallagher is the one for me because it's cheaper. And I just get this impression, I could be wrong, I get this impression that he's going to be someone who plays every game, throughout the whole season. And he just looks like a strong individual to have in your fantasy team, given how cheap he is. Now, I'm now going to mention someone, I think it was brought up earlier, but someone who I if I'm being honest, I've not heard anyone talk about him, and now is probably the time. He's actually, so in the overall points, Saeed Benrahma's got 57. This guy's got 55, and barely anyone's spoken about him. It's Jared Bowen, West Ham. I think maybe I'm getting there's a bit of recency bias here, but he got 2 assists against Liverpool. The thing that's really kind of impressive is that actually, when you look back at his previous set of games, he's been getting a goal or an assist. He actually got both against Villa the week before, but before that, he had an assist against Everton, a goal against Brentford, assist against Leeds, an assist against United. And these are the games where he's been playing 90 minutes. So I think he's only played, so there's 3 games this season he's played either 90 or 89 minutes, and he's not got anything. But the rest of the time, he's getting something. And the guy's only 6.3 million. It's pretty cheap. He takes set pieces. I think so. Aaron Cresswell used to be the set piece taker from both sides. Now it looks like it's Jared Bowen from one side, and the other guy I'm going to mention now is Pablo Fornals, who I bring up. He's not done as well as Jared Bowen over the season. He's a little bit cheaper, 6 million, but he got a goal and assist against Liverpool, got a goal against Villa. He started the season pretty well, but then he's gone a bit quiet between then and now. But he is also taking the corners from the other side. Now, I probably wouldn't double up on them. Basically, it's not one corner taker, they're sharing them. But the fact is that West Ham look very dangerous from set pieces. I honestly think that right now, after they've played Liverpool, you think to yourself, all right, well, that's the on paper, the difficult game. They've been playing really, really well. And like I said, they're tough to play against. They've still got some hard games. They've got Man City away coming up. They've got Chelsea at home coming up. But you really wouldn't write them off against anyone at the moment, especially considering the result the other day.
Yeah, no, they're playing some great football. They've been good to watch. But then what I think's impressed me a lot about them in more recent weeks is they obviously conceded 2 at Liverpool, but then again, conceding 2 at Liverpool's not actually that bad, especially if you score 3, obviously. But they've been keeping things pretty tight as well. Prior, they've kept a couple of clean sheets prior to that a bit more, and I think that's something that West Ham you don't associate with them. Yeah, they've only got 3 clean sheets this season, but for recent weeks, they've shut out Everton, shut out Spurs with 1-0 wins, so they're showing that they have got that capability to do that. They can keep it tight as well, and I think that's another big thing about West Ham. But I mean that works because it's not just the defence that are playing well and defending from the back, but defending from the front, which is always a famous saying. Antonio works out, Benrahma, Bowen, and Fornals. They've obviously been put into them. Look, yeah, great when you're on the ball, but we want you working hard off it, which I think they are doing. And then they've got 2 amazing guys as the holding midfielders, Declan Rice and Souček, who are playing really well. I mean, Declan Rice this season, scored a goal and got 3 assists for 5 million, 41 points. That's a good return so far this season for someone like him, which probably most people wouldn't probably have him in the side, I would expect. But I think West Ham are just showing that they're doing it whilst keeping really strong in Europe as well, which I think everyone normally sort of thinks back to the curse of playing in the Europa League, isn't it? That especially with the squad size that they've got, that you're gonna come undone, playing in Europe with that squad size. But yeah, two great shouts on the hit list there. We're a really formed team.
That could be like the peak for West Ham beating Liverpool. That moment where it's like everything is just falling into place, and when you're playing against one of the top teams, you need to get that second goal or that third goal in those positions, which they did, and they were able to hold on. But really impressive. And obviously Liverpool were undefeated, so that was even more impressive. But yeah, so I would say that you're taking a risk if you go for Bowen or Fornals, but personally, I would say that you should probably be thinking about getting one of them in if you can. And in my situation right now, where I've got 2 transfers, I'm thinking maybe I need to take out Ben Rama and bring one of those 2 in. Yeah. So the other player is someone who I've liked for a while now, and I talked about him at podcast last year, but haven't really brought him up that much. And it's Leandro Trossard at Brighton. Now, he scored twice in 2 weeks. It's not reason why I'm mentioning him. I mentioned him because he took the penalty, which is quite key here, because 6.4 million. He's playing for a Brighton team who are very confident at the moment. They seem like they can take on anyone. They got a 2-2 draw against Liverpool at Anfield the other day. Overall, they've probably been one of the most impressive teams this season, and they've kept that going. They've had a few stinkers. They got a draw at Norwich. They would have been expecting to probably win that one, and even this week probably against Newcastle, they would, given how well their season's been going, they would probably have expected to get the 3 points there. But Trossard is a very skillful play. From what I saw the other day against Newcastle, we had plenty of chances. Could have scored 2 or 3. If he's taking penalties as well, I would strongly recommend thinking about bringing him in. Brighton's fixtures are looking quite good as well. They got Villa away, Leeds at home, got West Ham away, Southampton away. But realistically, those are games where if they're playing as well as they have been, he could be key, and that there could be some good results and some goals. So I would think about Trossard. I think he's always in and around it. And the last player, I think I might have mentioned him a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know if he was on my hit list. I can't remember now. But is that Emerson Royale at Spurs?
Yeah.
I think everyone knows about Reguilon. I mentioned him quite a lot, so I'm not going to talk about him because basically he's quite an obvious one. You know, Conte's way of playing, like you said earlier, if he's looking to shore up the defence, Royale and Reguilon are both going to be basically the two wing backs, unless he goes there and he tries Doherty or he tries Ben Davis at wing back. I can't personally see it, but you never know. Then those 2 could be really, really key, and it would be quite a good differential to bring in Emerson Royale early. Because I don't think anyone would have him. Maybe some might have Reguilon, because I think if you had to choose between the 2, Reguilon was probably the one most people knew more about. But apparently Conte had his eye on Royale back in the day and was hoping to sign him when he's into Milan, I believe. So he's obviously kind of likes the way he plays, and therefore I would imagine that he would be a key player in his team. I think that Spurs and Conte will probably take a bit of time. I think Conte, this is a massive challenge for him. But if he can come out the other end and get Spurs a trophy or something, then who knows? Maybe they might be able to keep hold of Kane. Maybe they might be able to spend some big money in January. Maybe they might be able to challenge next season for the title. It's a big, big if. I said the same when Mourinho came in. It didn't work out. But, you know, Conte has proven himself. He took, Chelsea and Inter Milan from mid-table mediocrity to the title a year later. I mean, the guy has got great credentials. Personally, I hope he does do well for my FPL team, and then I hope he doesn't do well because, let's be honest, who likes Tottenham apart from Tottenham fans? That's my hit list.
Yeah, I think there's some good options there, and like I said, people, these are freebies. We're not charging you for these options, so take it on board, and just make sure that you have a look into these players at the very least. That's something I would say. So yeah, good stuff. So that takes us up to our North vs South mini league updates. There's going to be some shout outs, and also we will be announcing the manager of the month for October as well, which is now officially confirmed. So Heath, take it away, please.
Yeah, so I'll start with this week, and I'll start at the bottom. And I'll start with our main man, Nick Edwards and El Badger Poopers. Unfortunately for them, the good run had to come to an end. And although he has Cancelo in his team, Richarlison as captain didn't work out this week. He even had Good, who was playing for Brentford, who gave away the penalty for Norwich. Fabian Delph back on the 0 points again. He had a flirt. In fact, he played 59 minutes, but he got a yellow card. So that's why he's got 0 points. So overall, 29 points for El Badger Poopers, and that means that he's bottom of the league. Joe Hadley's now looking stronger. He's got himself 46 pointer. He had Conor Gallagher. He had 7 points from Luca Din and Ben Foster with 11 points. So he did well this week. And then we go up a little bit further and we can have a look at, I'm going to mention this guy just to see if he's listening, because I gave him a bit of stick the other day accidentally. And he started giving me a bit of stick back. And this is McGinn and Tonic, Simon Dent, 51 points, a good week. Only problem was he took 4 transfers. He took a minus 12. So interesting strategy there from Dentos. And, it paid off because the 4 out of the 4 players he brought in, Rafinha scored, Livramento, clean sheet, Smith Rowe scored, and Rupp. So I guess that's like a bench warmer for him, as I can't imagine that he's looking at Lucas Rupp as his main man.
No, definitely not. Yeah.
The transfers paid off for him. I would hate to imagine what his points would have been if he had not made those transfers. But yeah, he's sitting there mid-table mediocrity in 14th place, just below me.
You might want to check out what the certain lad called Ben Marion in our league went and did this week. Check it out.
42 points. He took 11 transfers, and
so he made +2.
Did he actually? Was he playing a wild card?
No, he's made 11 transfers.
No, but did he accidentally play it? Well, was he trying to play a wild card?
I don't think he's that bright. So no. I don't think he was just trying to place what is it? The old the free hit either. But yeah, 11 transfers.
Wow. I mean, he had a good week in a way. Ben White, Reece James, Smith Rowe again. Son was his captain, which is a bit of a mistake, and he had Aubameyang. But yeah, his team looks.
Son as your captain as well.
What's that?
You have Son as your captain as well.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, obviously, it was a no-brainer. I have to say, so we go from despair back to success. So moving up the league, and I say Summit Deer has redeemed himself. He got the most amount of points this week. He had Cancelo, Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, Conor Gallagher, Smith Rowe, Salah as captain. So he got a really good 70 points. That's given his title credentials a little bit more of a chance.
Put some points for it, didn't he? He made some transfers. He realised something needed to change, I think.
Yeah. It's another one with a -8. But the title chase is on between Warbones, Simon Jones, who got a 68 pointer, with Ben Foster in goal. He had Livramento, Alexander-Arnold, Salah as captain, Walker with 8 points. And yeah, I mean, I know this guy, and I know he's not normally that good at FPL. So we're wondering who he's offshored this job to, because
maybe he does. Maybe he's listening to our podcast and picking up all these things we're mentioning.
No, he's definitely not. He's definitely not.
I've been talking Salah for a long time, obviously. Rafinha, I mentioned him the other week.
Yeah, true. But let's move to the guy who's currently sitting top of our league, and that is probably one of the best names in the league, Betty Swallocks FC. We've mentioned him quite a few times this season. John Rogerson. He's got Ramsdale in goal with a 7-pointer. Alexander-Arnold. He's got Diaz, Livramento, Rafinha, Salah captain. He's got Foster on his bench as well. Would have been even better, but he was rolling in the points this week. 59, but he's got an 8-point lead on Warbones. that's one hell of a good title race. It looks like Brad's fallen away a little bit, so has Jason Bye, and it looks like it's maybe a 2-man title race, but maybe it's a bit too early to say. And then from the southern and the northern teams, obviously, State, you're in 6th place with your solid 53 points, and yeah, you're pretty much dominant over any other team from a north or south base. And then then we move on to our October. Oh geez, yeah. Wow.
Joint winners.
It was 1 point in it between the top 3 and the top 2 share. I mean, how do they agree that? Yeah, so Brad Utteridge with 4 nails a tie now, and Warbones, Simon Jones, with both of them getting 243 points for the month. But for some reason, Brad's number 1. I'm not too sure why, but maybe it's alphabetical. I don't know. And then Bessie Swallocks with 242. Mate, you got 230 yourself, so that was a very good month for you.
12th place, yeah. I'll say that. It's been consistent, with it. That's all it is. It's been a consistency. Yeah, all good. But yeah, now it's congratulations to our manager of the month. You win a great big thumbs up from us, but you can't see it because you can't see it. But we are both thumbsing up to you. Yay! Well done,
Double
guys.
thumbs up. Yes.
Double thumbs up.
I hope you enjoyed that.
Good mini league again.
Yeah, we haven't thanked anyone so far, have we? That's a bit unlike us. So thank you guys. Thank you very much for being involved, and thank you for all those minus points there, because I honestly, the amount of hits that have probably allowed me to stay in my position, otherwise quite a few people might have overtaken me. So thank you for those minus points. I really do appreciate that. But let's move on to our feature of the week, which is our scouted team. So this is all about a northern team. This is all about a team that State has been looking at and is interested in. And this is Leicester City. Now, if you've not listened to the podcast before, when we do our scouted teams, we focus on 5 different areas. So one is good from afar, far from good, which is a player who, who looks like a good player, but is a low FPL scorer. Then we've got a differential, which is someone who is underestimated, but could potentially be a big point scorer. Then we've got a newcomer, someone who is new to the league, to the Premier League or to the FPL league. Then we've got a set piece extraordinaire, which goes without saying, but it's basically someone who takes free kicks, corners, penalties. And then last but not least, Captain Fantastic, who is your consistent scorer for that club. And if they're playing, sorry, Norwich City fans. Actually, let's get Newcastle United or Norwich City fans. If they're playing one of those bottom teams from home, who would you captain against them? So that's Captain Fantastic. So State, please, tell us about Leicester City.
Well, thank you, Fahim. Yes, Leicester City, the Foxes, team that shocked the world a number of seasons ago by winning the Premier League. Well, a bit tough to actually scout, and given their season so far, it's not gone as well as I would imagine Brendan Rodgers. Well, definitely not gone as well as Brendan Rodgers would have hoped. They're in 12th position. I mean, they're not going to get into a relegation fight, but they've been just inconsistent this season. I think is probably the word for Leicester. I think they've been definitely hoping for better, and I think it's one of those things. They had a pretty good October up until the last game of October where they lost to Arsenal. Prior to that, they'd won a couple, they'd won 2, drawn 1 of the previous 3 league games. So I think they started turning a little bit of a corner after a bit of a shaky start to the season. So I think they're probably going to make sure that they're a comfortable mid-table team. But yeah, in terms of the players and that, obviously they played Leeds this weekend, but I've been keeping an eye on Leicester for the last few weeks. I watched the game against Arsenal as well. I mean, Arsenal won 2-0, but Leicester weren't exactly bad in that game. Ramsdale and Arsenal net had a blinder and stopped a number of chances and opportunities really. So yeah, in terms of what you're looking at though, I mean, so you sort of you're a good footballer, but not really your point scorer in fantasy football, or at least this season anyway. It's probably quite controversial this, because he should be scoring more points, and he normally does score more points, but he's not at the moment. But it's James Maddison. He's a fantastic footballer, and stuff, but he's just not really firing at the moment. And like I said, it's probably quite controversial, but he's got 1 goal so far this season and he's been playing every most weeks.
And that was a tapping as well, wasn't it, against Brentford? So
yeah, exactly. And so whereas previous seasons he scored 8, 6, 7 goals, he's got 7, 5, and 7 assists. So he's regular 120 plus point scorer normally. But this season, I don't know, he just doesn't seem to be pushing. I don't know if he's been told to play slightly deeper, try and get on, dictate play a little bit more from there. He has been playing a little bit out of position, I think, sometimes as well. He's been put out wide sometimes, and that's not his game really, because they've been playing Iheanacho a bit more as the man behind Vardy a little bit, probably because of his season last year, maybe, I don't know. But I just don't think Maddison's really sort of playing in the position where he really thrives. And so I think, Maddison, he looks great still when he gets the ball, his quality. But I think at the moment, he's that for them at the moment. He's that looks good, but doesn't score you many points type of player. So good from far, but far from good.
I wonder if it's something to do with, like, maybe his head's been turned by, maybe a club a bigger club have gone to his agent and tries to tap him up or something, and that he's unhappy that he hasn't gone.
Maybe. But yeah, it's just not working out for him. But I think it does coincide with Leicester not having a great season as things stand at the moment. They're definitely, like I said, behind where they're expected to be at this point of the season. So yeah, that would be him. In terms of your differential player, I mean, after this next game, after Leicester play Chelsea at home next, we've got a run of games which I could see him scoring some good points. We've got Watford, Southampton, Villa, Newcastle in the next 4 games after the Chelsea game. They were games that you'd expect them to have a good, strong chance of winning in those games, and they could have some points to fall. And I think I've mentioned him on my hit list earlier, so and that's why he's sticking to being like that differential. He won't be picked by many because he had a bad start to the season, but I think Harvey Barnes, I think if they start playing him again, which I think they will do, and he's getting that form back from last season, which he had before his injury, I think he could be a real differentiator for somebody. He could really sort of take things. He scored 9 goals last season, 5 assists, and I think he missed the last quarter of the season, through injury. There was talk of him potentially, getting into England reckoning before his injury. So I think he could be a real differentiator for somebody. Set piece extraordinaire for Leicester. I mean, it's slightly more difficult one, because there's a few. I mean, Vardy generally takes the penalties, but Tielemans is the second choice penalty taker generally. I've found Tielemans, Maddison share the free kicks, corners, and indirect free kicks as well. So I'd probably be looking at Tielemans would be the one who comes up on all 3 areas. To be fair, he will take penalties, he will take direct free kicks sometimes, and he will take corners and indirect free kicks. Maddison does a couple, but Vardy normally takes the penalties for Leicester. Maddison generally takes the main direct free kick if he's on the pitch, and then Tielemans, he seems to be the backup on the penalties and the backup on direct free kicks, but he does take corners alongside Maddison as well. So that's so you've got a few different options. Vardy will take the penalties if he's on the pitch all the time, and Maddison seems to take most of the direct free kicks within the proximity of shooting area, with Tielemans as the backup for those. So that's if you're looking at set pieces. And your captain, you can only look at one man really. I mean, Tielemans, yeah, he's a good shout, to be fair, but he's just having a good season already, and scored a few goals, which is, he's not probably as we know, but then last season he picked up a few more goals. But your main man for Leicester, if you're going to captain someone from Leicester City, he's got to be Jamie Vardy. There's no question about it. He's got 7 goals already this season. He's on 60 points, so he's scoring good points in total. So I think you've just got to be, he's the man to look at. And there's only a few players in the games who've got more points than him this season. And so, Jamie Vardy's your captain. And I don't think anyone would disagree with that, to be honest with you. And especially with the run of games they've got coming up, you fancy him to score some goals. I mean, the guy's a freak. I mean, the way he plays, not to sort of get injuries and, and still going, as he's pushing on in age, it's really good. I think it probably benefited him that he didn't start playing at this elite level, at the Premier League level, until he was a bit older. So he's not like what Michael Owen was doing, playing at it from like 17, and by the time he was 30, he was buggered that Paul Ladd didn't play that much. I think Vardy, it's worked in as a favour that he's not got to this level until later on in his career, probably. But he's the man captain all day long if you're looking at a captain from Leicester.
And Rodgers to United?
Nah. What happened?
I've heard that there's no way he'll go because of the Liverpool links, but I was thinking, but this is Brendan Rodgers. He was linked with Chelsea before. Like, Chelsea was his team before he went to Liverpool, so I doubt he would care.
I mean, links like that, I don't think matter to Brendan Rodgers. What? You were at Liverpool, 4 years or something like that? All of a sudden it's Liverpool, and that's bullshit. That's absolute crap. It's not, you could have said it about someone like maybe Bill Shankly or someone like that, but not Brendan Rodgers. Crikey. He went 3-4 years to Liverpool, and let's be honest, at the end of it all, they were all wishing him off as soon as possible because they were happy with the end results. So what allegiance does he owe them? Beggar all, in my opinion. So no. But I don't think they've got Man U. I don't think Man U get rid of Ole. They're not going to go for Brendan Rodgers. They're going big again.
Peter Crouch.
But not that sort of big. But then they're going for a monster net. They'll be going for like a Zidane or something like that. Someone who can manage big players like Ronaldo with big egos, with Bruno Fernandes, Pogba, and that. And no offense to Brendan Rodgers, but those egos. He didn't have. I don't think he had those egos when he had Liverpool. He had Steven Gerrard in his side, So and he would have kept everyone in check anyway for you with that sort of player. But he hasn't. He went to Celtic. There's no egos in Scottish football because it's shit. So let's be honest. Not to Man United.
I'm not going to lie to you, mate. For the last couple of minutes, I've just been thinking of monster names. I couldn't think of anything, so I didn't say anything. So let's move on to the final part of the podcast. So
game week preview. Basically, just doing what we might do with our teams for the next game week. We've got a bit of a gap until the 20th of November, which will be the next game week. Game week 12. I mean, the season 12 game weeks in. We're nearly, we're over a quarter of the way through the season. Picking up nicely. So what are your intentions, I suppose, because I don't think we'll be making any transfers.
No. I think because basically the reason why we're putting this game week preview in here is a bit too early to really make any transfers or anything. It was all down to the fact that last time on an international break we didn't do a preview, assuming that we were going to do one at a later date, which we didn't. So we're going to stick it in there now. I have got 4.2 million in the bank. I've got 2 free transfers. I have got a couple of problems. Now, I feel like the big problem I have is, well, it's not a big problem, but Raya in goal. I need to basically get rid of him. I don't like making goalkeeper transfers, but I need to get rid of him because as much as Ben Foster did well for me this week, I can't rely on a Watford goalkeeper throughout the season. 4 million Watford goalkeeper, to say the least. So Raya is probably going to go. Could potentially go for Mendy at Chelsea and then take out Azpilicueta and replace him with someone else. But I do think that I'd probably regret that because I'd want to bring in Reece James if he carries on the way he is. So maybe Ramsdale might be a good shout, or Martinez at Villa. If Villa change their manager, then maybe I could bring him in. And another option is McCarthy. Southampton are keeping fair few clean sheets. I think it's like 5 clean sheets in the last 8. Yeah. Ramsdale's the same, 5 and 8 as well. So their options. Guaita at Palace, they're starting to keep clean sheets as well. So I want to bring in Conor Gallagher though. That's one person I want to bring in. He is like essential, and I feel for Musa Sissoko, but it might be his place that it takes. Heartbreaking for Mo, but this is big time Charlie stuff. You've got to understand, Mo, that I'm competing with State this season. State's got his A game on, and we are struggling. It's a relegation fight we're in at the moment, mate. And Ben Rama's another one. Again, like I said earlier, could potentially bring in Bowen or Fornals for Ben Rama. I've been thinking about Fornals for a couple of weeks, maybe bringing him in, but I haven't done it. So there's a lot for me to do. I might even do 3 subs and take a -4 because, I need to do something. I need to change something. It's not working for me at the moment. So yeah, I've got a good base. But yeah, at the moment, I've got quite a few transfers up my sleeve. I'm going to keep Tony. I'm going to keep Kane and Antonio up front. I'm going to keep Smith Rowe, Mount, Son, definite. Sissoko's probably going to stay. Probably. Cucurella's definitely staying. Regan's definitely staying. Rudiger's definitely staying. And then Foster will be staying. So Tierney, Azpilicueta, Raya, Ben Rama, and maybe Sissoko are all vulnerable for the chop. How about you, buddy?
Well,
Salah out, you say? Oh, that's bold.
No, definitely not. I've only got 0.5 million in the bank, and it's just one free transfer this week. So, my ideal plan would be to try and figure out a way to get Alexander-Arnold on my side, which is 7.7 million, and I'm not going to get rid of Cancelo. And I'd still not be close to getting that money. So so it's probably going to have to be a build-up. But I'm probably going to be looking at getting rid of Andros Townsend probably now. The Everton sort of gravy train as well and truly work its course. And
that was a very, very slow and short gravy train that they were on.
Yeah, it was definitely. So yeah, I'm going to get rid of him, and I think I'm going to try and look at bringing somebody quite cheap in actually for him to sort of generate the funds to get closer to that Alexander-Arnold thing. So I think this could be a couple of weeks in the burning type thing. So I think, it's definitely going to be Andros Townsend I'm going to get rid of. I'm just going to make my one free transfer. He's going to go, and my short list, I'm going to look at Matthias Norman at Norwich because he's 4.5 million. And yeah, granted, he looks great. He looks a great football. He's probably not going to score loads of points necessarily, but he's going to play every game for him. He takes the free kicks for them, he takes set pieces, and he makes things happen for him if anyone's going to. For 4.5 million, so I will then free up another 1.1 million if I bring him in, and then I'm working my way towards that. I think he's probably the likeliest of people to come on that team. Other options, they're not really big point scorers, you see. So with the money I'm looking at, because I want to save the money, so I'm thinking more ahead really by looking at doing a transfer like that, because it's not going to affect my team, I don't think, too much. And I'm going to try and work some magic eventually to bring in Trent into my side.
Got to do it early though, mate. You got to do it early. His value's only going to go up, and people will see assists and goal from a defender, and they'll think, I've got to get him in. His value could be 8 million by the time you try and get him in.
Yeah, I know what you try to do. Good means to make more hits. I could just take a free hit for a week and just have him in that way, if I wanted to. But
I would, do it.
Yeah, but no, I'm gonna keep it. Especially, Ronaldo would be the one to get rid of. But since they're playing Watford next game week, I probably fancy that he might do something there.
Got a captain him again. Money where the mouth is. Got a captain him.
Maybe. Who knows?
Salah on the bench again. Come on.
Well, you just keep captaining your Spurs players like a pleasant body, and you'll do just fine. You will, yeah. What's that now? Spurs have not scored in their last 3 game weeks, and haven't you captained Spurs player in the last 3 game weeks.
They're wankers, absolute wankers.
You're doing really well there, mate. Really proud of you. So yeah, like I said, we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's the plan anyway. Get rid of an Everton player, especially since they play Man City next as well, and then look to try and create some transfer funds to buy big.
Yeah, lovely. So, I mean, I hope everyone's enjoyed our podcast. This is, I mean, realistically, we've got the international break coming up. So we are thinking about putting a special out there. We don't know exactly what we're going to do at the moment, but we'll find something that will hopefully entertain you guys while there's no Premier League football. But yeah, I guess it's, just to remind you our Twitter handles. So Dates is at FPL_Northerner and mine is at FPL_Southerner. And I guess, wish you all the best throughout the international break, and State, you too.
Yeah. Thank you, mate. Yeah, good luck to you as well in the international break. At least you won't lose next week. So
no, honestly, I never lose, mate. I always feel like a winner. You know, I get to come on this podcast and I get to enjoy my time with you. It doesn't matter if I win, lose, or draw. I'm always a winner.
Talking rubbish. Bollocks.
But no, we'll have something for you guys, and I mean, enjoy your time off, relax. You know,
Definitely enjoy, guys.